Question. I have a question, Dimitri, on the chart that you showed about the planet, where you showed all the countries and the um, colors were green and red based on how much resources they consumed. So you remarked that at the beginning of the 19th century, pretty much the entire planet was green, whereas at the turn of the 20th century, they were all 80% of them were red. So a naive question here is: can this whole change be attributed to a singular event? For example, could it be the invention of internal combustion engine, for example, or something like that? Is it possible that it's a singular event which triggers a whole bunch of related events? Again, like I said, it's a naive question.
According to my limited knowledge, it is not triggered by one singular technology. It is triggered by interaction of different technology, but to what it depends? It depends on the efficiency of solutions that we use. Because look carefully, the efficiency of steam engine, the maximum thermodynamic efficiency of steam engine is just 8%. What does it mean? We have what we are asking from just 6%, and 94% we produce waste and pollution. One of the main engines that we use today for private transportation and for delivering the goods, internal combustion engine, the maximum, I'd like to emphasize, thermodynamic efficiency for diesel 34%, for gasoline this is a 27%. What does it mean? It means 73% we produce waste. We are wasting. So, in fact, the next, and if I took our energy generation technology, this is even worse. You know, how do we produce electricity today? This is very difficult to, from point of view of efficiency. It's absolutely not efficient. So that's why, in fact, to satisfy our needs, we, from one side, we need to improve efficiency of our technologies. But from another point of view, we need to change the way how do we use them. Because the well-known phenomena, when we obtain some technology which is greater efficiency than previous one, we start to use it absolutely different. Look to the computers. The more computer power we have, the more we use it, the way that before we watch TV, today we watch, you know, the streamed video, which consume much more resources for similar functionality. So this is not one technology triggered. If I try to answer shortly.
Sure. Thank you so much. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense for me. Definitely that we can't say you can't pinpoint and say that this is what it costs, but it's actually a chain and network effect of many things. And I agree that it is a contradiction of sorts to solve that. We need it to be sustainable. We need the resources to go down. But on the other hand, we have these technologies which seem to be guzzling more than what they give you. So it is definitely, we have to work towards making it sustainable while extracting work efficiently. And oftentimes, we've had this conversation again in the past, is that people immediately say, oh, you know, we should run electric cars. But then the bigger problem is the energy generation is so inefficient that you're using up electricity for cars. Of course, it doesn't produce any pollution, but you have energy leakage, energy losses somewhere else. So you have to look at it from a systems point of view, not from just a one component part of it. Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely, Malna. This is exactly why technology forecasting in multi-dimension we have to run in order to be more systemic. Not just to rely like we rely in the past. We still have abundance of resources. We have no abundance of resources.
Yes.
I didn't tackle the question about clean water, which is also the resources which we use. I didn't tackle the question about sand that we use for construction. But all those resources, they are really something which we use not wise way, let's say like that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. One additional question is regarding the wisdom, knowledge, information, and data, the pyramid that you showed me, showed
Mm-hmm.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, looks like from this, can we conclude that data is the basic building block of in order to understand how technology really evolves, how technology really potentially to know about the future. Data is absolute basic building block of anything, so we need to have that in place before you can even think about the future. Is that something that you would recommend starting, or you would say no, you should know about something and then go with data? How does it work?
Yeah, today, yeah, thank you very much for the question. Today we had a lot of discussion and a lot of noise about big data concept and so on and so
Yeah.
that. But in fact, what we need about data, we need relevant data. We don't need a lot of data. We need relevant data. And what are the data which are relevant depends on our present knowledge. In order to get reliable knowledge about future, the main idea is we need to identify what are the relevant data. And this depends on our cognitive limitations, on our biases, on our cognitive inertia and other issues that we need to find a way how to manage them properly. But of course, yeah, the data and the information, this is something that are building blocks which we are going to use. But how to use them, it depends on our knowledge and our wisdom.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you so much. Yeah, that definitely answered my question.
Yeah.
Because data science and big data is something that many learners who will be taking this course would have been familiar with. So thank you so much. That was interesting.
Yeah, this is important. But just to tell you the real story about big data. Recently, I learned that for Earth observation data, in border of Copernicus project, this is a project, European project, which we have several satellites on the orbit, which collect in permanent every day, every minute, they collect data. So the huge number of data is generated, very precious data, very high quality. But in reality, we use less than 5% of this data. We use just less than 5% of this data. And the question is not the data. The question is how to use it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.